is up? Welcome to Driftin into Freedom. Now, I know that the 9 to 5 seems to be getting a lot of negative press lately, especially with the way the economy is going. A few weeks ago, I actually lost my job, and I have been with the company for over 10 years. And I actually thought that I was going to retire with my job, especially like a lot of you out there, you were told to go to school, get good grades, go and work for a company 20 to 30 years of your life and retire with that company so you can have your Social Security, pension, 401k. And so that's what I did. I went to college. I went and got myself in a whole bunch of debt. And I did it mostly because I wanted a better life. When I was growing up, we struggled. So going to college was just something that I just wanted to do so that I could have a better life. So I ended up getting a job maybe about a year after I graduated college. And believe me, I was very, very grateful. It was my first job, my first career. Now, although my job was helping me literally pay my bills and pay off some of my debts, I'm gonna be honest with you, it just never really seemed to fulfill me, but hey, it was helping me pay my bills. Now, it's one thing to hate your job, but let me just say, when you have a manager who is just so negative and you can't stand that person, let's just say they're a piece of work, it just makes your job even worse. And I got to experience that firsthand. So not only did I hate my job, but going into work and having to deal with this person just made my life even more incredible. And let me just say, it made me want to quit on a daily basis, having to go into work and deal with this person. But of course, like I said before, I couldn't just quit. I had bills. I had student loans, a car note, car insurance, and all of these other responsibilities. And the bulk of my income was literally going towards my bills. And since my income wasn't enough, I had to go ahead and pick up a few side hustles, from Ubering to doing retail. I even started an Amazon business because I needed more money in order to cover all of my expenses, like a lot of you out there. But because I was constantly working, I literally had no life. And after 4 years of feeling like I was a hamster trapped in a cage, y'all, I quit. I was like, I couldn't do it anymore, which is something I definitely don't recommend, especially if you don't have a backup plan. And believe me, I did not have a backup plan at all. I literally woke up one day and was like, I quit. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So you definitely don't want to do what I did, because at that point, I had to rely on my Amazon income, which was not stable at all. Now, keep in mind, I did thankfully have 6 months worth of emergency fund put to the side, so that helped me out a little bit. So yeah, I highly recommend having an emergency fund because you just never know. But I will say, not having a stable income like you have with a 9 to 5 definitely really sucks. And that's one of the benefits of having a 9 to 5, is because you're gonna get that check at the end of the week. And since I quit my job, like I said, I was highly relying on my savings as well as my Amazon business in order to cover all of my expenses. So my Amazon business overall was doing really great. I was, ranking on the first page. And then all of a sudden I started getting complaints, which I think was my competitor. And then all of a sudden my Amazon page kept getting shut off due to complaints, which ended up costing me a lot of money. So at that point, I was just losing a lot of money. Now, although I have no regrets with starting that business, I'm really grateful I at least tried. I found myself having to re-enter back into the workforce because I just needed income. I needed some money to cover all of my bills and expenses. I ended up getting a job that I absolutely hated, even more than the job that I previously had, because at this point I was working 12-hour shifts, no weekends. And let's just say, sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And let me tell you, y'all, that grass needed a professional gardener, and I was not it. Absolutely not. So I lasted a good 3 months in that position, but at least this time I actually had a plan. Let's just say I was knocking on the door of my old job like, please, please let me in. And thankfully they did let me in. I was able to get another position within the company, but I did find myself working even harder. I don't know if it was the guilt that I felt from leaving, but it was almost like this feeling of I needed to stand out from the bunch. So I was working hard, making sure that I was doing extra work and doing this and, just really just trying to make sure that they saw me. And believe me, they saw me all right, because next thing you know, I'm up here training all of these people, training them to become supervisors. But when it came down to me getting promotions, those promotions just were stale. So it was like I was good enough to train all of these people into becoming supervisors, but I wasn't good enough to, get to that next level. And so my income pretty much stayed the same. So next thing you know, I found myself working 2 jobs just to cover all of my bills. And this went on for years. And of course, the more money you make, the higher taxes you pay. So at this point, I just felt trapped once again. Only this time, I did not want to make the same mistake that I made previously, quitting without a plan or quitting at all, because at the end of the day, I was still able to pay my bills. So believe me, I was just very grateful to have a stable income coming in every single week. Little did I know that I would not actually have the option to retire with my company, because I was laid off a couple of months ago. So at this point in my life, I have no desire to go back to corporate America, especially after spending the last 10 years of my life making someone else rich. And one of the main reasons why I never want to go back into corporate America is because when you work for someone else, they hold the power. They can control you. You're just a number and you're easily replaceable. So in my situation, I don't want to go back to work for someone knowing that I can easily be replaceable just like that. So I have absolutely no desire to go back into corporate America. So instead, I'm going to be taking a leap of faith. So my new 9-to-5 is going to be YouTube. This is and has been basically my small business, and I do treat it like a business, from keeping a daily schedule to researching to editing to writing. So basically this is and has been my small business for the last 2 years. Only prior to me getting laid off, it was just a side hustle. One of the things that I've learned over the years about having your own business versus not having your own business are the tax breaks. And there's definitely a huge gap when it comes down to the two. Because when you're working for someone else, especially if you're a high 6-figure earner, in some cases you can still be struggling, especially with those high tax brackets. And I know a lot of people who are earning these high 6 figures, and because they don't have a small business, let's just say Uncle Sam is always sniffing out their checks, if you know what I mean. And most of this is due to them being an employee versus having a small business where you can write a lot of that stuff off. For example, when I travel, I'm able to write off things regarding taxes, from supplies to hotels, meals, plane tickets. There's a lot of benefits there. And this is great because having YouTube as a small business also helps me lower my taxes. Another thing that I love about YouTube is basically it's free to start. When I originally started my Amazon business, the upfront cost was in the thousands, especially since I was importing a lot of my products from China. So in between the import fees, warehousing fees, the marketing, the branding, and obviously when you're starting a new business, these are things that you want to take into consideration. But one of the things that I love about YouTube is there's no huge upfront cost. You can literally pick up your phone, which is what I'm doing as we speak, and film on your phone. Now, if you want to go all fancy and buy camera equipment and all of that stuff, by all means, but I literally film everything on my phone. Basically, all it costs me is my time and dedication. So now I get to control my own time versus my boss telling me when and when I cannot go and do something. So overall, I have no intentions, like I said, to go back to corporate America. My goal at the moment is to continue to keep growing this channel. Let's get us up to 10,000 subscribers, shall we? I also want to do some traveling. I want to see the world, I really want to take the time to really explore and see what else is out there. So traveling is definitely something that I want to do in the near future. And now that I'm laid off, it definitely gives me an option to go ahead and do that. I believe God has another plan for me versus me going back to a 9-to-5, sitting in an office, staring at a computer for the next 10 years of my life. For the first time in my life, I'm actually doing something I really enjoy doing, because at the end of the day, time is something we can't get back. So the bottom line is, if you are still working, you want to use your job as a foundation to help you to get to the next level. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a 9-to-5, but while you still have one, just make sure you're using it, build a new business, invest, and have an emergency fund. This way you have other streams of income. Because at the end of the day, I want us all to be able to drift into freedom and live our best lives. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel as we drift into freedom together. See you soon.